Hey everybody, John Prue here with 3 steps on how to take an ordinary chord progression and make it sound more bluesy and soulful. I'm also going to show you how you can take this chord progression and use it over some of your most favorite jazz standards. You ready? Let's go! Hey everyone, okay, so here is our quick tip on 3 steps to make a chord progression bluesy. There's going to be 2 levels, one for beginners and intermediates and the other for the advanced level. I'm going to show you how to take a basic chord progression like 1, 6, 2, 5, and we're going to take you through the steps of how to make it more bluesy by adding some dominant chords, and finally with a very cool bass line I'm going to show you. But before we get to that, I'm going to show you some song examples that use this great technique. All right, the first song is a song you all know called At Last. Goes on from there. The next song is a song called Since I Fell For You, uses the same chord progression. Great. And the last one is a Duke Ellington tune called Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me. So welcome to the beginner, early, intermediate level. This is step 1 where we're going to take a basic chord progression. 1, 6, 2, 5 in the key of C major. And actually the next 2 bars we're going 3, 6, 2, 5. So the chord progression again is 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5. And the reason that we use 3 instead of 1 is because 3 and 1 are related. If I have a C major chord, C major 7 chord, and I take away the root, I have an E minor chord. So that's why they're related, and you can substitute them out. So the left hand's playing the root, and the right hand is just playing the 7th and the 3rd. So I'll play it for you once, and then we'll play it together. So we have 3, 4, C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, now E minor 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. Let's try it together. And C major 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7, E minor 7, A minor 7, D minor 7, G7. Great. So this chord progression is called the turnaround, that uses the guide tones, the root, the 7th and the 3rd. It's a very typical chord progression you hear in a lot of songs like Blue Moon and Heart and Soul. And you know, if you do any kind of introduction in a jazz song and you just count off the song, this is the introduction they're most likely going to play. All right, step 2. This is where it gets really interesting. We're going to add dominant chords to this chord progression. So in the previous chord progression, we had these major 7s and minor 7s, which sounds perfectly fine, but now we're getting into this blues element that we were talking about, and we're adding dominant chords. And again, a dominant chord means that we have a major 3rd and a minor 7th. And what makes it sound bluesy is that we have between the 3rd and the 7th is a tritone. And again, a tritone is an augmented 4th. So we have this really cool bluesy sound with these, all of the chords are dominant. Doesn't that sound cool? So I'm going to play it through once, and then I'd like you to join me the second time. Here we go. 3, 4. So we have C7, A7, D7, G7, now E7, A7, D7, G7. Now join me. Here we go. C7, A7, D7, G7, down to E7, A7, D7 and G7, and we're back to C7. And what I love about this is that when you're going from the A to the D to the G, notice that your right hand is going down chromatically. Isn't that cool? A7, then you go down chromatically in the right hand to D7, and then chromatically from the G7 to C7. And if you start on the E7, it does the same thing. E7, go down chromatically to A7, go down chromatically to D7, and then to G7. But already we're getting this kind of blues flavor in this chord progression. So, really cool. All right, welcome to step 3, where we are going to put it all together and play a really cool bluesy bass line, and also what's called a pedal on top. So the right hand's going to play what's called a C pedal, and all a pedal means is that you have a constant note that's the same on top of all the chords. So if you see the right hand is playing a C note on top, you have this C, and you have a C there, same note on top. Do you hear that C? That's a really cool technique, and a lot of piano players like Oscar Peterson, for example, use that. It's a very bluesy sound. And so we're going to break this down, and we're going to talk about how to play this left-hand bass line, as well as add some of these cool chord extensions in the right hand. Let's start with the left-hand bass line. Now, if you notice, above bar 9 there, it says the 8th note equals a swung 8th, which is like a triplet. So when we're playing this bass line, we have to think about these 8th notes as triplets. So we have to think about 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3, 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Isn't that cool? And then what makes it really bluesy too is that undercurrent of that triplet, 8th note triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so let's try that left hand bass together. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Really cool, right? So even though it just looks like 8th notes, you're going to play it with that kind of swing feel on the left hand. Now the right hand is going to be using the same 3 and 7 that we were doing in the previous example, except in addition to the 3 and 7, we're going to keep this C on top. So the right hand's playing the C7 voicing, and you repeat it. Then we go to the A7, but notice we have a C sharp, which is the 3rd, the 7th, and then this C on top. Now if an A is on the bottom, this C sharp is a chord extension. It's the sharp 9, which is a really cool sound. Then we go to the D7, and we're doubling the 7th. So we have the 7th, the 3rd, and the 7th on top. And then when we go to this chord, G7 normally would have a B natural, right? But when the C is in there, that's called the sus, or the 4th. So we have a G7 sus chord. You're doubling the sus. You have the sus, the 7th, and the sus. And then we go to the E7 chord, and here's the 7th, and there's the 3rd. But because we have this pedal on top, that C is the flat 13 or the sharp 5. Either one of them, it's the same note. Sharp 5 would be B sharp. Flat 13 would be a C natural. So we play that, and then we go to the D7 where we have the 7th, the 3rd, and we're doubling the 7th on top. And then we play the G7 sus again. Isn't that cool? So I'm going to play it through once, and then I'll have you join me the second time. So we have 1, 2, A7, D7, G7 sus, E plus 7, A7 sharp 9, D7, G7 sus. Now do you notice I'm also accenting the 2nd and the 4th beat? That's what makes it also gives it that really bluesy swing feel. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm accenting the 2nd and the 4th beat. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to put it together now, and we're actually going to add a backing track here so that we can have some drums. And we're going to try it hands together. We'll start at kind of a slower tempo. This is great anyway because this is the tempo that this really feels good at anyway, at 70. Let's try that. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and everyone. Cool, sounds great. By the way, you can also add triplets in the right hand to give it that swing feel, and it would sound something like this. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. It's really fun, and again, I'm accenting the 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Great, congratulations. So now you're able to play this chord progression over any song that has this chord progression, like the ones I mentioned, like At Last, or Since I Fell for You, or Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me. Any ones that have this chord progression, the 1, 6, 2, 5, and you can add these bluesy chords. So congratulations. We're going to move on now to the advanced version. All right, welcome to step 1 of the advanced version. For this, we're going to do the same chord progression, the 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, but instead of the 2-note voicing in the right hand, you're going to be using the 4-note voicing in the right hand, which is the A-B voicing. So we have in the left hand playing the root, the right hand you're playing the 7th, the 9th, the 3rd, and the 5. This is the B voicing of the C major 9. Then for the A minor 9, we're going to the 3, 5, 7, 9. That's the A voicing. Then the D minor 9, we go 7, 9, 3, 5. That's the B voicing. And then the 7, 13, 3, 13, 7, 9 of the G13. Then to the E minor 9, so we have 7, 9, 3, 5. A minor 9, 3, 5, 7, 9. D minor 9, 7, 9, 3, 5. G13, 3, 13, 7, 9. Let's try that together. So we're going to play through this chord progression 2 times. Let's try it together. Here we go. 3, 4, C major 9, A minor 9, D minor 9, G13, E minor 9, A minor 9, D minor 9, and G13. Again, this is a very typical turnaround chord progression. You hear this especially if you are playing an introduction to a song and you don't have an introduction written out. If you started a song with a jazz band, chances are they're going to play some version of this chord progression. Great, so step number 2, we're going to really get into making this sound more bluesy. And how do we do that? Well, the first step is that we make the chords dominant. And so we have in the right hand now, we have, instead of a C major 9, we have a C9. So in the right hand, we have the dominant 7th, which is the minor 7th, the 9, the 3rd, and the 5th. So 7, 9, 3, 5. Cool, right? Then we go to A9. So the left hand's playing A, right hand's playing the 9, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. And then we're going to D9, which is 7, 9, 3, 5. And then the G13, which is the 3rd, 13, 7, and 9. And then the next one we're doing is E9. So instead of minor, we're doing dominant again. So we have 7, 9, 3, 5, right? Major 3rd. And then to the A9, 9, 3, 5, 7. D9, 7, 9, 3, 5. And our G13, 3, 13, 7, 9. Really cool, huh? And they're very kind of close voicings too. So they're very, I call them kind of crunchy voicings. Let's try this. We'll play it through a couple times for these dominant chords. Here we go. C9, 3, 4. So C9, A9, D9, G13, E9, A9, D9, G13. Now together. And 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, and back to our 1. All right. already it's sounding a lot more bluesy, isn't it? Really cool. All right, great. Now step number 3, we're going to put everything together, and I'm going to show you a very cool bass line that you can play that incorporates the triplet feel. Now this groove feels really great with this kind of triplet feel, this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so the left hand is playing the root, so we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now notice what's happening is that we're approaching the targeted note with a whole step, a half step, and then the note itself. And then when we go to the D9, we're going a whole step above, a half step, and then hitting the note. And same with the G7, we're going up, whole step, half step, hit the note. So there's a pattern that's happening throughout. So I'll play it through once, and then I'll have you join it the second time. So we have 3, 4, C, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4. All right, great, let's try it together. Ready, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. I love that, it's so cool. And the fact that you're playing those triplets, you're not playing on the beat, you're playing on the second and third triplet, I think is a really cool thing. So we have 1 and 2 and 3. So it's a really fun bass line to play. Now on the right hand, we have two things happening. We have this, what's called a pedal on top. So the pedal just means that we have the one note that's being held over all those chords. In this case, it's a C pedal. So we have this voicing with a C on top, and this is a dominant chord, a C13. And then when we go to this chord, that C becomes a sharp 9, really, really hip sounding. And then we also add this sharp 5 here. And then we go to the D9. Again, the C is on top, that's the 7th, and there's the 9. And then we go to this G9 sus, which is such a cool sound. And if you look at this, we have a C, F, A, C. So it looks like an F major chord over G. That's another way of looking at a sus chord, by the way, is just going down a whole step and playing that major chord. So F major over G. And then we go to the third chord, which is an E plus 7. The plus refers to the sharp 5. So we have 7, sharp 9, 3, sharp 5. I love that because you have these half steps right here. And then we go to the A7 again with a sharp 9, sharp 5, D9, and then to our G9 sus. So let's just try the right hand by itself. Notice also it's on the and of the beat. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's on the off beats. Let's try it together. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. Really cool. And I know this first chord may seem a little bit of a stretch to have to play the B flat and all these notes here, but it's a really a hip voicing. I was debating whether to put it up here, but I think you can do this as an alternate if you'd like, if it's more comfortable to have the 3, 13, 7 root. But if you're able to do this stretch, I just think it's a really cool voicing. If you're able to do that, that's great. So now we're going to add the track, and we're going to try it all together with the bass line and the right hand playing this groove. So let's try it through a couple times. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Cool. So now that you've learned this chord progression, you're ready to play all those songs that I talked about. at last. Since I fell for you, do nothing till you hear from me. And if you like, you can even try the right hand playing all triplets. So you could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and maybe we'll try that with the track and trying triplets in the right hand and also the left hand playing the groove. Let's try that. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Thanks a lot, everybody. It's been a blast to work with you. See you next time.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the lesson, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels, where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.